Shabbat Shalom. Peace. I have to give it a few seconds. Peace. Welcome to another Sabbath conversation. In today's conversation, I wanted to speak about when control crosses the line in one's life and how it tries to take God's or Yahuwah Elohim's place in one's life. And when they're just sharing like different boundaries and the behaviors of it. So there may be, I'm actually curious, like if there are sisters out there who can relate to maybe being frustrated or really putting up a firm boundary or wall when it comes to other sisters who may come with a controlling nature. And the reason why I'm speaking about this is because as soft, feminine women, truly feminine women, we strive to move away from controlling behaviors and trying to control other people and also trying to overly control situations in our life that we don't have control over because we realize that we're supposed to be guided by our creator. So sometimes this control shows up in how we interact with other people. And you may have had experiences where other women may have tried to control you in some sense. And for some reason, it's just kind of it just really puts you on edge because you're like, oh, I just really wish you wouldn't do this. So this video is for those type of sisters who may relate to something like this. If you ever experienced it, maybe on your job, maybe in your community, whatever it is that you do, it can be many different scenarios or situations that you may have experienced something like this where another woman has tried to control you. And I'm just going to go through a few different behaviors and just share my perspective on it. So I wanted to talk about the aspect of women you may have experienced women just straight up telling you or giving you a directive and giving you an order. They may say like, go do this, go grab this. There's no question that's asked. It's just a direct order. Do this, do that, go over here and do this. It's not like, do you mind doing this? Can you please, would you mind? There's no type of manners in the question, in the order, in what they're sharing, what they're telling you. There's no asking. It's like they didn't ask for your permission. They didn't ask if it was okay. It's just go do this, go do that. And I've had women do that to me, and it's very, very offensive. And I don't abide. Of course, I don't listen to that. I say, in my head, it's like, there's all kind of thoughts that are going on in my head, but it's like, no, like, first of all, like, that's not how you speak to people, right? Nobody wants to be told what to do from another adult person. No, it's just like there's a way that you talk to people. And I have had women, like I said, tell me like, do this or do that. And I've had to say in different ways, like, are you telling me what to do? Are you going to ask? Or are you asking me? Or are you telling me? I've said that to someone before. And I just wanted to like speak about like that personality. My question, or you probably, when I create the thumbnail, you're going to see like who gave this person the authority to give you a directive, as if, because for me, like the way I look at it is that I receive directives from my head, my covering, or I receive directives from the Most High Yah. But if another person outside of that is giving me some sort of order or directive, I really have to pause and ask, like, why are you giving me a directive? Why are you not asking for permission for me to do something that you're telling me to do? Why are you taking that away from me? Why are you taking that away from another person? Their ability to say, no, I don't want to do that. Or you're not even asking like if it's okay. So I really like question that, and I go to idolatry. I have to be honest. When I see that sort of like behavior, it's like this person is saying, I want you to bow down to my expectations of what I say for you to do. And it just goes into like Lucifer, how Lucifer was usurping Yahuwah's Elohim's authority, saying, I'm going to soar above your throne. It says in Isaiah 14:13, you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and I will sit on the mountain of congregation in the uttermost parts of the north. It's like, I'm trying to go above you. Like, I'm trying to go up into heaven. Yeah, I'm trying to exalt my throne. Like, there's no humility there. And I think there's difficulty. I'll read Isaiah 14:14 as well. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. So I think I might have gotten the verses mixed up, but somewhere around Isaiah 14 or 13. And so you'll probably notice too, like if you ever had this experience, like if when you do put up that boundary of like, no, I'm not going to like do what it is that you're telling me to do. Usually there's like an aggressive response and respond to that. They don't like being told like that you're not going to abide by or bow down to an order from them. And it's kind of like what I've noticed is a lack of respect. Of course, it's not respectful, which I mentioned, but it's kind of like if it's coming from a woman, if a woman is given a direct order, they're not taking into consideration that woman's role, whether or not she's a mother, her age, and it's like there's a difference between guiding a younger woman, because in Titus it tells a woman like how she is to teach younger women and children and guide them and teach them, right? But that's separate from someone giving orders as if they have that authority over you. You know, that's different. And I think some women get it confused. They don't have the language to speak to someone based on, that person's role. Now I understand, like, if a woman has a child in that position, she will be giving orders. She will be telling that child what to do. They need to do this. You need to do this. Hey, I told you to go do this. Please go to your room. I told you to go clean up. They're giving orders. But I think women get that confused. Sometimes they'll also project that onto other women and treat them as if they are a child when in fact they're not. And so I definitely think that the language needs to be established there, But if you've ever experienced that, and maybe this is like validated, like, oh yeah, I knew that wasn't like right for someone to talk to me about that, or talk to me that way, I should say. And I'm really curious, like, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Like, have you ever experienced this, and how do you handle those situations? All right, so the next point I wanted to go into is that controlling through deception. All right, so we went from controlling through commands to controlling through deception. And this deception, the way that some people control is through lies, double speech, manipulation of the truth. So this one is kind of heavy. I wanted to define double speak. Double speak is language that deliberately obscures, disguises, distorts, or reverses the meaning of words. Have you ever had someone tell you, like, that's not what I meant, and they try to twist the truth, and you like, no, what you're doing, you're twisting something and making it other than what it is. I know what I'm hearing. I know what I'm saying, and the person would try to convince you otherwise, right? Or say that you misunderstood when you're like, no, I didn't misunderstand. You're actually twisting what was being said. Another form of double speak, and it also refers to someone who intentionally speaks in an ambiguous language and don't give the details of something. It also, like I said, it disguises the nature of truth. So double speak is a tricky language that hides or changes the true meaning of words. People use it to make bad things sound good or to confuse people. So that's the purpose of double speak. And this person is purposely doing that. Proverbs 6:17 and 19, Yah speaks about how he hates those who have a lying tongue, and those who are a false witness who utters lies. Um, there are people who will interact with you, and they'll have the mindset, the heart posture of, I want you to believe my lie so that I can control how you view me. So they may be trying to convince you of something about themselves, and you know in your head, like, you know how some people would tell somebody, like, who are you trying to convince, or who are you trying to fool? Like, you're trying to convince, I think you're trying to convince yourself. Like, when people are overly trying to convince somebody of something, a lot of times that could be a sign of someone trying to convince themselves internally of a lie, you know. And when someone does that, they're not allowing a person to come to their own conclusion. So they're trying to control that person and take away that person's right and choice to decide, like, or to discern, like, no, this is what's happening. And a person is automatically trying to take that away from the person by trying to convince them before they come to the realization of their own mind, like, wait a minute, no, like, this is something else that's happening here. I don't believe what it is that you're saying. But that person will say, no, what I'm trying to say is this, and I'm trying to say that. And it's like, just stop. Like, you don't have to do that, you know. But that behavior is something that God hates. So there are times where, and I'm speaking about these things, but these are things that I've used as well. So I have experienced, this is something that many women have difficulty with, they're plagued with. It's just a part of growing up inside of a culture that wasn't righteous and that has taught certain moral conduct, like that it was okay, that it was right, and it's supported, you know. So yeah, we just have to continue to strive and to work towards moving out of that each and every single day. Those of us who are striving to remain in our femininity. Also, I wanted to go into how there's also a lack of trust for the other person, that they have any light or truth inside of them. So there's also disrespect here. When someone is trying to deceive you, they are, how can I say this? You're a person that has light, you're a person who has truth inside of you, but when someone tries to purposely deceive you and tries to trick you, it really messes with your mind when you're on the receiving end of that, because you have to think, like, why are you trying to do this to me? Like, are you an enemy, or like, are you against me? Why are you trying to convince me of something that's a lie? You know, also wanted to go into, like, well, I already said it, is evil to try to trick somebody into believing something that is false, because Torah is completely against deception or people who deceive. There's also another way that people control, and that's through emotions. They'll try to guilt you or shame you into something. And I'll give an example. Like, I did a presentation actually years ago with a group of sisters on doublespeak. And in my life, like, where I was in my journey, I was doing a lot of, like, self-reflection, and, like, I didn't have a problem, like, doing self-reflection and self-examination as it came to, like, the traits that women need to work on and improve on, and doublespeak was one of them, because I was like, yeah, like, I'm learning things, I'm like coming to a realization of, like, oh yeah, this is wrong. And as I'm looking into doublespeak, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I have been doing. And so I thought it was a good idea, you know, to share with a group of sisters, like, this is what I've learned, this is what we're doing, y'all. And I didn't realize that not everybody was at a point in their journey where they have confronted that aspect of themselves. And so I realized that the focus didn't become on the message that I was trying to, like, you know, like, push. Like, the message that I was trying to share was like, hey, y'all, look at this. Like, I thought that it would bring revelations to those sisters like it did for me. And it didn't have that effect. It actually offended other women, which wasn't, you know, my intention. But the focus became on what I was sharing. They started critiquing, like, well, where do you get that definition from? Like, when I was sharing on double, like, where do you get that definition from? They were trying to, like, pick apart what it is I'm saying to move away from the uncomfortable subject. The light that I was shining, I put this big old light bulb, like, we do this, y'all. like I came to this realization that this is what's happening, and I guess it convicted, it convicted those that, you know, yeah, they knew that they probably had similar challenges and were trying to pick apart the presentation, which was very deceptive. It was very, that was a form of like manipulation and gaslighting. I'll throw that in there as well, because it's like you're trying to make it seem like there's something wrong with, they were trying to make it seem like there's something wrong with what I was presenting, because maybe I had the wrong definition, or I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. No, I found this definition. I looked up the definition. I didn't make it up. I went online, searched what the definition was, read on it, seen what people were saying about double speak. And so I didn't just make this up. So I'm like, so in my mind, I couldn't understand at the time, like why they were so focused on breaking down and critiquing where I got the definition from, as opposed to what I was actually saying. Is what I'm saying true? So that is a form of controlling someone through emotion, because you're offended and you're feeling some type of way. You're going to try to make the other person feel uncomfortable so that they stop, sharing that truth. And that's a way to control somebody, through how a person feels. If I feel bad about something, I feel lonely, I feel left out, I feel insecure. So I'm going to project it onto the other person so that they can, so that it controls their actions. So now they'll treat me a certain type of way. Maybe they'll cater to my insecurity. Maybe they'll cater to my lack of emotional control, or whatever it is. And all of these behaviors are ways that other women may try to control another person. And it's not just women, of course, but as I always share, like my content, I'm speaking to women. So, it's not my place, and I don't have the authority to teach men, which I do see a lot of women do. They purport themselves, or they put themselves on that throne, and they say, I have the authority to teach men. And where in Torah, where did you get that from, that it was okay to teach men? But that's a different culture. That's a Hebraic perspective. Anybody that tries to like control a person, or control you, or control us, we have to look at, as people who have a covenant with the Most High Yah, we have to look at the reason why this person is doing this, and where are they getting their authority from. Now, if it's my head, or if it's your husband, or the man in your life that is responsible for you, that's giving you order, then based on Torah, like, we were instructed that we're supposed to obey, point blank, period. So that's the only time where I won't question that level of authority, because that man has been given the authority to do just that. You may be in a dangerous situation where they have to give you an order, like, don't do that, stop, like, go over here, go over there. If you're in a dangerous situation, and let's say a man has to tell you, like, he sees somebody maybe coming up the side, he like, go over there, go, like, or he like pushes you, like, go over there now, and you stop in that moment and say, like, wait a minute, why are you speaking to me that way? Why are you talking to me like that? And then the enemy comes and just like, hurt both of y'all. So you know what I'm saying? Like, or he ended up getting hurt because you were still distracting him. He couldn't, like, you didn't follow an order. So he's trying to get you to get out of danger so he can handle the situation. But let's say you don't listen. And then now he ends up getting like hurt or whatever, or something happens to him where he's like, man, I wasn't even like going to get hit if it wasn't for this woman not obeying what it is that I'm saying. So I know that's kind of like an extreme example, but I mean, I do think situations like that do happen, where a man is given a direct order, and it's for that woman's protection. A righteous man will do that, and it's not coming from a place of they want to control. And I think a lot of women who think that they have the authority, they don't like that, but it's like they're not admitting to themselves that, well, you're trying to have authority over that man, so he's supposed to listen and to submit to your order, but that's not divine order. That's not what Yahuwah Elohim created. Yahuwah Elohim created man first, and then made the woman from man. That was the order. So for the woman to try to like usurp his place and say, no, I'm the authority, you're going to listen to me. If I tell you to let me look at your phone, you better do it. If I tell you that I don't want you coming in late at night or interacting with a whole bunch of women, you listen to me because I'm your authority. A lot of women place themselves in that position, and it trickles down to the relationships that women have with other women as well. That controlling nature, it comes into play, and is due to a lack of humility, a lack of like trust, a lack of trusting that they don't have to do that because Yah's in control. So that's pretty much all I wanted to speak about. I was trying to keep this conversation short this time around, because I have to, connect with my community, and we're having a study session right now, and so I want to be present. So, but I do appreciate, sharing this information. Hopefully, it was helpful. Yeah, hopefully it was helpful. I always say that, but I do truly, mean that. And I would love to hear your thoughts. I definitely, because I don't know, like, if I don't hear many women speak about this, um, unless unless they have a really toxic relationship with another person. But I don't really hear many women sharing like how this is bothersome to them. So if this is something that you've had experiences with other women trying to control you, please share. Like when you put your boundary and say no, no, I will not do that. Do not talk to me like that. Why do you think it's okay for you to give me a direct order? Like, why are you speaking to me like that? Who are you? And I don't say that to people like, well, who are you? I don't speak like that. But in my mind, I'm sharing like you may be having these thoughts in your mind, like, well, who you tell me to just tell me to do what you said? Like, why? Like you may be thinking these things in your head. But if you exerted yourself and told someone like, no, I won't do that. Um, it's like they put you in a position to have to say something that is a bit stern that they may not like to hear but they shouldn't have like gave you an order to begin with. But yeah, what have your experiences been in regards to dealing with controlling women? I know many times that has came from many of us have grew up with controlling mothers in our lives. So a lot of it has come from that. But definitely share. I love to hear it. All right. Shabbat shalom. Peace.